For years after the Apollo and Luna missions, humanity shifted its focus to other parts of space, leaving the moon quietly holding on to its mysteries. The last time the Soviet Union brought back lunar samples was in 1976, marking the end of an era. Then, almost suddenly, the race to return to the moon began again. China made quiet but bold moves, reaching places no one had been before. NASA kicked off the Artemis program, and SpaceX launched powerful new rockets. Strange findings on the moon's far side started to raise questions. What was underneath the dust of the moon? And why is everyone heading back now? Let's take a step back to understand. In the early 2000s, China began its moon exploration with a well-organized, step-by-step plan. The China National Space Administration, CNSA, launched a series of missions under the name Chang'e, inspired by the ancient moon goddess. These missions aim to learn more about the moon, while also boosting China's position in space science and technology. The first spacecraft, Chang'e-1, launched in 2007. It mapped the moon in 3D and studied the soil. One of the key finds was the presence of helium-3, a rare element that could one day be used as a clean energy source, hinting at China's interest in the moon's resources. In 2010, Chang'e-2 followed with sharper cameras and scouted safe spots for future landings, flying as low as 9 miles above the surface to snap detailed images of possible landing zones. 3 years later, in 2013, China made its first soft landing on the moon, the first by any country since 1976. The U-2 rover touched down in Mare Imbrium, exploring the area with the first ultraviolet telescope ever used on the moon's surface. Then, in 2019, China launched Chang'e-4, a mission with a bold goal: to land on the far side of the moon, something no other country had done. Originally built as a backup for Chang'e-3, it was repurposed for this historic attempt. This steady progress showed China's serious approach, not just for science, but also for international recognition. Since CNSA operates under military control, many experts believe China's goals are both about gaining global status and unlocking the moon's valuable resources. Some observers even say this could be the start of a new space race, not for glory, but for access to rare materials, water, and potential energy sources like helium-3. In short, it's not just about national pride anymore. It's about what the moon might offer for our future. On January 3, 2019, China's Chang'e-4 mission successfully touched down on the moon's far side, landing gently inside the von Karman crater. This crater lies within the massive South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the largest and oldest impact sites in our solar system. Landing on the far side of the moon was a big deal. That part of the moon never faces Earth and had never been explored up close before. Because of its position, it's cut off from direct radio contact with our planet, making communication extremely difficult. Scientists had long been interested in this untouched region because of its ancient surface and quiet radio environment, but sending a spacecraft there came with big challenges. Without help, signals from that side of the moon can't reach Earth. To fix this, China launched a relay satellite named Kuiqiao, Magpie Bridge, in May 2018. This satellite was placed in a special spot in space called the Earth-Moon L2 point, where it could keep constant contact with both Earth and the far side of the moon. Thanks to this setup, Chang'e-4 could stay in touch during its descent and landing. Shortly after it landed, it sent messages home using this communication link. The area itself remained completely silent in terms of radio waves, which made it an ideal place for new scientific experiments. About 12 hours after the landing, the U-2 rover drove onto the moon's surface and began its exploration.
NASA's top official at the time, Jim Bridenstine, congratulated the mission, calling it a historic achievement. American scientists also recognized how important it was. U-2 soon began sending back the first ever close-up images of this hidden side of the moon, a rugged, cratered landscape under a pitch-black sky. One thing that stood out was how different the side of the moon looked compared to the one we usually see. The far side lacks the wide, dark lava plains seen on the near side. Instead, it has a much thicker and more heavily cratered crust. By studying it, scientists hope to better understand why the moon has such different faces. The mission didn't just reveal more about the moon's shape, it also started to uncover potential resources, including one that's been getting a lot of attention: helium-3. This rare element is barely found on Earth, but exists in large amounts in moon dust thanks to billions of years of exposure to solar wind. Helium-3 has long been seen as a possible fuel for nuclear fusion, an energy source that could one day offer clean, powerful electricity. Chinese researchers are especially interested in this. In 2020, samples from the Chang'e F5 mission revealed a new mineral called changesite Yi, which even contained traces of helium-3. The potential is huge. Just 1.4 ounces of helium-3 could, in theory, generate as much energy as 5,000 tons of coal. Scientists estimate there may be more than 1 million tons of helium-3 on the moon, possibly enough to power Earth for thousands of years. That's why China has been closely studying the moon's surface, especially its soil, mapping out where this valuable gas is most concentrated. If fusion technology becomes practical, helium-3 could lead the way in the next era of lunar exploration and even space-based mining. The Chang'e missions haven't just been about landing on the moon, they've also been searching for areas with the highest potential for future use. Think of them as skilled space explorers. But not everything they found was expected. In mid-2019, something unusual caught the attention of the Yutu-2 rover's team. In a small crater, they noticed a shiny, oddly textured patch that looked nothing like the surrounding lunar soil. This strange sight quickly went viral online. People wondered, how could anything wet or sticky exist on the moon, which has no air or atmosphere? Could it be volcanic glass, melted rock from a meteor crash, or something even more mysterious? For a while, Chinese officials didn't release any photos, which only made the rumors grow wilder. When the images finally came out, they showed a dark, glossy substance nestled between the moon rocks. Scientists later identified it as breccia, a mix of rock and dust that had melted together during a high-speed impact, likely from a meteor. In simpler terms, it was a smooth patch of moon rock, probably rich in minerals like olivine and pyroxene. It might not have been alien goo, but it was still a significant find. This kind of formation revealed more about how violent events, like ancient impacts, shaped the far side of the moon. It was similar to materials brought back during the Apollo missions, but this time found in a totally new location. Chang'e 4 wasn't just about geology though. It also carried a tiny life experiment, a sealed container about the size of a bucket, filled with seeds, soil, and insect eggs. Then came a groundbreaking announcement in January 2019. Inside that little container, a cotton seed had sprouted. For the first time in history, a plant had grown on the moon. The image of a small green shoot growing on a barren, lifeless world captured the imagination of people everywhere. It was a small step toward one day building space greenhouses. Unfortunately, the lunar night soon arrived, bringing freezing temperatures that dropped to minus 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Without heat or sunlight, the little plant didn't survive.
Still, in its short life, it proved something powerful. Earth life could begin to grow even on the harsh surface of another world. The experiment also included potato seeds, yeast, and fruit fly eggs, though they didn't make it past the deep freeze either. Even so, it was a huge step forward for space biology. As one expert pointed out, this was the first time anyone had attempted to grow living organisms directly on the moon. It showed that growing food on future lunar bases might actually be possible. This small green leaf, growing in such a desolate place, became a symbol of what's possible in space exploration. The scientific world took notice, and while some were quick to celebrate the achievement, others speculated wildly, ranging from thoughtful analysis to outlandish conspiracy theories. Despite political tensions, including legal restrictions that prevent NASA from formally working with China, the US Space Agency congratulated the mission and even shared some of its lunar data. Western scientists praised the mission's scientific approach and the wealth of new data it provided. Some even began discussing potential collaborations in the future. Chang'e 4's landing on the far side of the moon added to humanity's growing knowledge of our nearest neighbor in space. It also sparked new questions. Could China install telescopes there, away from Earth's noisy signals? Could this remote terrain hold valuable resources? While some of these ideas sparked serious scientific debate, others were met with skepticism, partially because of how secretive the mission seemed. But the mystery of the moon's far side, combined with Chang'e 4's success, has certainly kept the world watching. Online forums and tabloid news were buzzing with wild ideas. Some people started wondering if the Chang'e 4 mission had uncovered something extraordinary, maybe evidence of alien objects or ancient structures hidden from view. Even before photos were shared, rumors about a strange jelly-like substance began spreading and theories popped up about secret bases or life forms. In a similar moment in 2021, China's lunar rover, Yutu-2, spotted something unusual in the distance, a cube-shaped object on the moon's horizon. It quickly earned the nickname Mystery Hut. The internet lit up with jokes and guesses that it could be an alien house or a space monolith. The rover's team joined in the fun by calling it the Mystery House, though they didn't make any serious claims about it. As the rover got closer over the next few moon days, it became clear what the object really was, just a weird-looking rock sitting near a crater. Interestingly, it looked a bit like a crouched rabbit, which was fitting since Yutu means jade rabbit. While alien talk grabs attention, there are other reasons people are interested in what's happening on the far side of the moon. Some experts have raised concerns about China's space program because of its links to the military. They worry that a base there could be used to carry out secret missions, avoid being seen from Earth, or even watch for missile launches. But there's no evidence that Chang'e 4 had anything on board except scientific tools. Its list of equipment was made public, and some of it came from Europe. Germany, for example, provided a radiation test, and Sweden contributed a neutron detector. Still, the timing of China's focus on lunar exploration has raised questions about whether a new space race is beginning, especially as the US and other countries are also heading back to the moon. What China's missions have revealed about the far side of the moon is now shaping future plans, not only for China, but for space programs around the world. One major idea being discussed is building a base on the moon, possibly on the far side. That location would be perfect for space research because it's free from Earth's radio signals, allowing scientists to listen to the universe with little interference. However, it also comes with challenges, like the fact that direct communication with Earth isn't possible from there. To solve this, satellites like China's Qichao, or QKO, will be necessary to keep in touch. In the near future, China wants to build a robotic research base, possibly using 3D printing and lunar soil to create the buildings. If this happens, we might one day see permanent observatories or even habitats in places Earth can't see.
There's also growing interest in mining the moon, especially since scientists have confirmed the presence of helium-3 and other valuable minerals. Helium-3 could change how we produce energy on Earth. Chinese scientists believe that 1 million tons of helium-3 from the moon could meet Earth's power needs for thousands of years, potentially solving both energy shortages and climate problems. Although this idea is still far from becoming reality, it's already part of global competition. The first country to successfully extract resources from the moon could gain a huge advantage in energy technology. China's missions are helping to figure out if mining there is even possible. They've been testing how to heat up moon soil to release helium-3, and organizations like China's Atomic Energy Authority are backing the effort. In the future, the moon could become as important for energy and resources as the Persian Gulf has been for oil. Even though recent spacecraft didn't land near the moon's poles, the search for frozen water there is still a major focus. Several missions like India's Chandrayaan-1 and NASA's L-Cross have confirmed the existence of water in permanently dark craters near the poles. And this discovery matters a lot. Water on the moon could be turned into breathable oxygen and rocket fuel, and it could support human life. China has taken note of this. They plan to send future landers to explore the polar regions to check how much ice is there. Interestingly, even samples taken by China's Chang'e 5 mission from areas away from the poles
showed signs of water in the form of hydroxyl molecules attached to minerals. This likely comes from solar wind reactions. If future lunar settlements can use sunlight and this water, the idea of living on the moon becomes more practical. China's long-term plan includes using local resources. Robots or astronauts could collect ice, melt it into water, and convert it into fuel and breathable air. Some of these ice deposits might be hiding inside the dark craters on the far side of the moon, especially in the South Pole Aitken Basin. If that's true, then choosing to explore this area could be a major step toward long-term survival on the moon. In fact, China's Chang'e program is laying the groundwork for building a shared international moon base in the 2030s, according to plans shared by their space agency. The idea is to partner with other countries to build a base near the moon's south pole. But there's still one big issue. Who owns the moon's resources? The 1967 Outer Space Treaty says no country can claim the moon. But as more countries look to use its materials, new legal debates or even conflicts could emerge. Whoever leads in finding and using the moon's resources will likely have a strong influence on future space laws. That's why the moon has become the new battleground in the modern space race. After China's Chang'e 4 made history by landing on the far side, other space programs quickly increased their efforts. China has kept pushing forward. In 2020, one of their missions returned samples of some of the youngest moon rocks ever found, about 2 billion years old. Then in 2024, Chang'e 6 became the first mission to bring back rocks from the moon's far side, about 4.5 pounds of material. These are still being studied and could confirm earlier research or reveal new facts about the moon's history. Next up are Chang'e 7 and 8, set to launch in the late 2020s. These missions will focus on the moon's south pole. Chang'e 7 will likely include a lander, a rover, and even a small hopping device to explore craters and look for signs of water ice. Chang'e 8 will go a step further, testing tools and methods for using lunar resources to build things, possibly with 3D printing. China plans to begin constructing a scientific base near the South Pole in the early 2030s. This facility will welcome international partners, but only those willing to work outside of the US-led efforts. Meanwhile, the United States is restarting its lunar ambitions through NASA's Artemis program, backed by private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. The goal is clear: send astronauts back to the moon and build a lasting presence at the South Pole. Artemis 3 was initially set to land humans in 2024, but delays have pushed that date to around 2027. The US aims to be the first to return people to the lunar surface, while China is developing a powerful new rocket, Long March 10, and plans to land its own astronauts by 2030. The clock is ticking and the competition is intense.
In 2024, Chinese officials openly named the US as a direct rival in this lunar race. According to China's space agency, both nations could have active bases at the moon's south pole within the next 2 or 3 decades. The prime location? Sunlit ridges above icy craters, perfect spots for solar power and water collection. It's the exact same region both sides are targeting. With China and Russia working on their own lunar base, ILRS, and the US forming alliances under the Artemis Accords, a clear divide is forming. The main concern isn't about owning the moon, but about claiming the best areas. Locations that get constant sunlight and are near water ice are extremely valuable, and both nations are racing to secure them. Right now, it's still uncertain whose rules will govern all this activity. Unlike the intense competition of the 1960s, today's space efforts are a mix of working together and competing at the same time. Even though NASA and China's space agency CNSA aren't allowed to work together directly, countries like those in Europe act as go-betweens, taking part in both China's Chang'e missions and the US-led Artemis program. Still, one thing is clear: the moon is now the main focus in the push for long-term space exploration, and maybe even for using its resources. While the old space race was about proving who was better, the modern version is more about preparing for the future and gaining a lasting presence. The big question is, will these discoveries lead to teamwork that benefits everyone,
Or will they spark even more competition and division? For now, the far side of the moon is no longer hidden in darkness. As nations and private companies see the moon as a new frontier, it's becoming the stage for a whole new chapter in space. And up above us, that quiet, silver world may hold answers that shape what happens next on Earth. If you learned something new or found this topic as fascinating as we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of space discovery. Until next time, keep looking up. The universe is full of surprises.